Hello, everyone. Once again, thank you all for being here. Just want to get this meeting started real quick. My name is Dawson Spencer. I serve as the branch manager for long-term recovery for North Carolina Emergency Management. And so we oversee the Aerial Asset Accessibility Grant Program that was established in the Disaster Recovery Act from last year. And so I'll be the one leading this meeting today. We will eventually have a grants manager assigned to this project in the near future. But for the time being, I will be your person of contact. With that in mind, I'm going to drop two emails in the chat just for you have my contact information if you have any questions that you would like to reach out to get answered or raise any questions to my attention. Great. So that is who we are as long-term recovery. We work in the recovery section of North Carolina Emergency Management, and my assistant director or my interim assistant director is Bob Barker. Thank you all for being here, and I'm excited to talk about this new grant program. I'm going to start first by walking through the NOFO, just highlighting some key aspects about that NOFO that you probably viewed online. And then we're going to have a little Q&A just in case you have any questions or some clarification that you might need moving forward. And then we'll have a quick conclusion. Are there any questions before we get started with reading the NOFO? Great. And also just fair warning, it did give you an update when you logged in, but this meeting is being recorded and will be posted for external partners to see just in case they couldn't make this meeting or the one tomorrow for technical assistance. Can anyone not see my screen at the moment? You should be able to see a Word document of the NOFO. All right, I assume everyone can see it. So this is the Aerial Asset Accessibility Grant Program. There are a couple of things I want to talk about at the very beginning. So this was funded by the Disaster Recovery Act of 2025, Part 2. And so everything that we're going to talk about in this NOFO was pretty much set into the parameters of the grant program based on the law that created it. Very few of these decisions were a program decision or a policy decision. Most of them were a legal one. So the first off is that the eligible applicants are limited to people or units of local government that own an airport that was currently in operations or were in operations prior to TS Helene and are not currently in operation because of damage of TS Helene. And so that in itself can be a little complicated to hear, but more or less, if you are in the disaster area declaration of FEMA for TS Helene, then you are in a county that is applicable to apply for this grant program. And that we can share with you as well, but I'm sure many of you are familiar if you are or you are not a part of that declaration. There is a deadline. The deadline is May 15th, 2026 by the close of business, which is for us 5 p.m. The applicant and eligible, this is a part where it gets somewhat complicated. An eligible recipient under this program is a person or unit of local government that owns an airport, which is currently in operation or was in operation prior to TS Helene. To qualify, the airport must meet the following requirements. It must have fuel available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The county where the airport is located must enter into an agreement granted to the state untethered access to any facilities provided under the program. It must have an on-site aviation mechanics offering services to the public and during a state of emergency. It must be capable of remaining open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Airports classified as commercial service airports by the FAA are not eligible under this grant. So if you are considered a commercial service airport, you are not able to apply for this grant. All other airports are more than welcome to apply. Categories of work. There are two main categories, grants for damaged infrastructure and grants for capacity for emergency preparedness. Grants for damaged infrastructure are more or less recipients that need to repair, replace, or restore infrastructure on the airport property, including such things as terminals, runways, gates, hangars, structures, airport roads, and other structures damaged by TS Helene. Applicants for these grants must pursue insurance coverage and or federal aid prior to being awarded a grant through this program. The other aspect is emergency preparedness. Recipients may improve their capacity for emergency preparedness and disaster response through capital projects and infrastructure and communication improvements on airfield property. Eligible recipients must demonstrate how this project or improvement will increase emergency preparedness and disaster response. Also laid out in the bill that created this program is that it's going to be funded up to around $20 million, which it was, and that it is going to be limited to $5 million each for single recipients, and the total grants will be limited to 2 for every county. We understand not all things will be able to be fixed. Let's say you have a hangar damaged or an airport road damaged. We understand 5 million may not be what it totals the entire project cost. So we can be a portion of that cost, and you have other grant providers or other avenues of revenue. We do not have to be the full one. Also, I'd like to mention that there is no cost share required, and that it is completely reimbursement based. There are no administrative costs that are eligible for this grant. Therefore, that means that all money spent on this grant program has to be connected to an individual project, which is either the infrastructure project or the emergency preparedness project. It lists here, if you want to read some possible projects that we thought of that might be able to be applicable for this process. Obviously, these are just examples. You can apply for any kind of project that you would like, as long as it follows on the eligibility requirements. The period of performance is up to 36 months, and that does start once the MOA and award has been signed. This section here is just how you got access to this technical assistance meeting right at the moment. In the law, it also mentioned that we are able to prioritize applicants as we receive them. So that kind of just explains how we're able to do that. Key target dates, obvious ones are one today. We do have our technical assistant workshop today and tomorrow, so those are very important, as well as the previous mentioned application deadline on May 15th. After that would be July 2026. We will notify the applicants of their award. And then in August 2026, we will complete and sign all grant agreements. As you're probably familiar with some aspect of the recovery, long-term recovery is a special entity in the recovery of North Carolina and of the state and the federal government. So we're a little special. We don't accept applications via a portal or anything like that. We are a little more simplified. And so that is meant to assist our applicants, no matter what size they are or what their staff looks like, that they're able to apply, and it doesn't stop anyone from getting the access that they need to our grant program. And so this section here just lays that out. You will need to submit your application to the ncemltr.grant at ncdps.gov website with the subject line as listed as the applicant name, project name, and then the grant program. And a successful grant application will have the following in a PDF. So the first one is the applicant name, address, contact information, project name, as well as any charter, ordinance, or minutes from a county commissioner or city council creating the airport or local airport authority or airport district pursuant of the authorities of NC General Statute, Chapter 63, Article 5, Section 5. General description of the project. Describes how the projects repairs, replacing, and restores infrastructure by damaged TS lean, and or builds and improves capacity for emergency preparedness. It also will include a scope of work. This is a cost estimate for projects to achieve the number 3, which is the described aspect, including an understanding of how the estimate was achieved. A timeline for approval of a grant to project completion, and how and who will manage the project if awarded and their qualifications. A competitive proposal will likely include the following things. Just in case you want to read about that, that is there as well. And then lastly, the project that are selected will require applicants to sign a grant agreement, which is what we consider to be an MOA. And when you do that, you must submit the following forms to OSBM to be considered applicable as well. That is the end of the NOFO. So I will stop sharing my screen now and see if anyone has any questions. If you do, please feel free to raise your hand, or you can message the question in the chat. Yes, Matt. That is your question.
Looking at the emergency preparedness portion of the grant, does all of that equipment have to be permanently located at the airfield, or long as it supports the operation? So, for example, if the fire department that serves the airfield were to purchase a new piece of equipment for response to the airport, is that eligible?
I would say so, yes. I think that you would need to be able to have substitute documentation showing that that fire department is the fire department that serves your airport, because it may not be so clear in the application. But I would say so, because just if the fire department was on your airport location, it would qualify. The fact that some smaller airports don't have that on site should not exclude them from being applicable for that emergency preparedness aspect. So my answer to that, Matt, would be yes, they are applicable.
Thank you. And follow a second question. I knew different grants kind of set up different ways, but I know that each county is eligible for two projects. Is that project defined as a single piece of equipment? Like, say, I'm going to add one generator, that's a project? Or can I say I'm going to do emergency power for the airport, but that encompasses three separate generators?
So you can frame that as you would like. I would probably suggest number two, just to make sure it's simple and in one package, right? So when you complete your scope of work, and your number, I think it's 3 and 4 of the eligibility application process, you can just describe, hey, we are doing a emergency power projects, and then you can list projects 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that can be a generator at this location, a generator at this location, maybe some kind of study that shows what kind of power efficiency you have currently and what's considered to be like field standard, something along those lines. So you can have a general scope of work and have multiple projects under that scope of work. That's more than okay.
And last question, I promise I'm done.
You're good. So
back to the fire department scenario. Do you believe that we've been looking for a grant for a while to provide a training prop at the airport? A simulated aircraft fire prop to help our first responders. Do you believe that's something that would qualify under this grant?
I would say so. I mean, that helps you respond in emergency preparedness and disaster. Say training is an aspect of that. I'm not on the panel, so that there is a group of 5 people that will be the reviewers of the applications for this grant program. I am not a part of that, but we would ask our attorney to clarify that. But my gut answer is yes. That will be something that prepares you. I think it's a little outside the box thinking, but I think that's why the verbiage is so vague. It allows you to encompass what you would like to encompass and how it best serves your airport and your community.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Lisa Kern in the comment section asked, so there is no actual application form. That is correct. There is no template of the application form. You just have to submit those documents that we required in the application. I believe there are 6 of them. Yeah, 6 of them. And you just have to put them into a PDF, and that is how you submit them. So yeah, no problem. Any other questions? In a moment. No questions heard. So thank you all for being here. Once again, we appreciate the partnership of rebuilding Western North Carolina after Helene and what that takes in both private and public sectors. So thank you for being here and allowing us to be your partner. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to the NCEM LTR grant email address. We're able to assist any questions, concerns that you may have. And you have a great evening, and thanks so much for being here. I'll stay on for a little bit afterwards, just in case you have questions, but this concludes the technical assistance workshop.